In the heart of the world lay the kingdom of Veridia, a land that had long forgotten its own name's meaning. For generations, a strange, magical silence had fallen over it. The vibrant greens of the forests had faded to a dull, mossy grey. The brilliant blues of the rivers had softened to a murky slate. But most tragically, the music was gone. No birds sang in the trees, no children's laughter echoed in the streets, and the grand ballroom of the castle stood perpetually quiet. This was the work of the Whispering Blight, a sorrowful curse born from a forgotten promise. Princess Aurelia, the heir to this muted throne, was different. While her family had grown accustomed to the silence, Aurelia felt the missing music deep in her soul. She spent her days in the castle's dust-filled library, poring over ancient texts that described a different Veridia, a land of dazzling color and breathtaking sound. The books spoke of the sun-crested finches, birds whose songs were said to weave magic into the very air. But they had all vanished, lost to time. One rainy afternoon, driven by her restless heart, she discovered a hidden passage behind a loose tapestry in the library. It led to a small, forgotten chamber untouched by time. In its center, protected under a glass dome, was a single perfectly preserved sun-crested finch, its golden feathers still shimmering as if lit from within. Beside it lay the diary of her ancestor, the first queen of Veridia. As Aurelia turned the fragile pages, she learned the truth. The kingdom's founder had made a sacred vow to the ancient forest spirit of the Gloomwood to protect its lands in exchange for prosperity. But his son, hungry for lumber and stone, broke that vow, pillaging the forest for his own gain. In its grief, the spirit did not seek revenge. Instead, it shielded its broken heart with a curse of silence and sorrow, the Whispering Blight, that slowly leached the life and color from the surrounding kingdom. The diary's last entry was a desperate plea, noting that the curse could only be undone by one of royal blood, who could prove their heart was true at the heartwood of the elder tree. A true heart. That was the key. Aurelia knew what she must do. That night, she took the glass dome containing the finch, a locket from her mother containing a single drop of pure spring water, and a simple traveler's cloak. As she stepped into the silent courtyard, a faint, melodic chirp echoed from the dome. The finch, dormant for a century, had awoken. Looking at the tiny, vibrant creature, she named him Pip. Her journey led her to the edge of the dreaded Gloomwood. The moment she stepped under its canopy, the air grew heavy and cold. The trees were gnarled, skeletal things, their branches like twisted claws reaching for a sky they couldn't see. Shadowy figures, shade wraiths born of the spirit's sorrow, drifted between them. They whispered words of doubt and despair into her mind, trying to drain her resolve. They whispered of failure, of loneliness, of the futility of her quest. But Aurelia clutched the locket in her hand, its coolness a steady anchor. She focused on the memory of the finch's chirp, a tiny, defiant spark of music in a silent world. Pip, sensing her struggle, would flutter within his glass prison, his presence a small, warm light against the oppressive, soul-crushing gloom. After days of walking, guided by the ancient maps from the library, they finally reached a clearing. In the center stood the elder tree, a colossal, silver-barked giant that was miraculously untouched by the blight, its leaves shimmering with a faint, otherworldly light. As Aurelia approached, a figure coalesced from the shadows at its base. It was the forest spirit, its form like shifting leaves and moonlight, its face a mask of profound, ancient sadness. Another child of the Promise Breaker, the spirit's voice was not a sound, but a feeling of sorrow that resonated directly in Aurelia's mind. "You have come to take more from me, that there is nothing left to give." "I have not come to take," Aurelia said, her voice trembling but clear. "I have come to give something back." She knelt before the spirit and carefully opened the glass dome. Pip, now free for the first time in 100 years, popped onto her finger. He looked at the sorrowful spirit, tilted his little head, and let out a single, pure note. It was the first birdsong the Gloomwood had heard in a century. The sound was like a drop of water on a parched leaf. The spirit recoiled, not in anger, but in pain, as if the memory of music was too much to bear after so long in silence. "Your ancestors' vow was broken," the spirit whispered, the feeling of grief deepening. "The forest has been dying ever since. A song cannot mend a wound this deep." "I know," Aurelia said softly, "but a promise can." She held up her locket. "This water is from the heart of my kingdom, the kingdom that has suffered alongside you. I cannot erase the past, but I can pledge our future." She unclasped the locket and poured the single, shimmering drop of water onto the gnarled roots of the elder tree. "I, Princess Aurelia of Veridia, renew the ancient vow. The Gloomwood will be protected. Its life is our life. Let our kingdoms heal together." She then looked at Pip, who was still perched on her finger. "Sing for this place," she whispered. "Sing for what was lost, and for what can be found again." Pip flew from her finger and landed on a high branch of the elder tree. And then he began to sing. It was not just a song, but a cascade of melody, filled with the hope Aurelia had carried in her heart, with the memory of color and the promise of life. The music washed through the clearing, and as it did, a miracle occurred. The silver bark of the elder tree began to glow with a soft, golden light. The light pulsed outwards, wave after beautiful wave, sweeping through the Gloomwood. Where the light touched, the grey bark of the trees softened into rich, healthy browns. Tiny green buds erupted on skeletal branches. The shade wraiths, those lingering echoes of sorrow, dissolved into motes of light, their long vigil of grief finally released. The light spilled out of the forest and swept across the kingdom of Veridia. Color flooded back into the world in a breathtaking rush. The river sparkled a brilliant sapphire. The fields turned 100 shades of emerald, and the stone of the castle warmed from a dreary grey to a brilliant shining gold. And then came the sound. First, a gentle breeze rustled the millions of new leaves. Then, the river gurgled and splashed against its banks. And from the distance, a chorus of birdsong erupted as thousands of sun-crested finches, drawn by Pip's powerful call, returned to their ancestral home. When Princess Aurelia returned to the castle, she was met not with silence, but with a symphony of joyous celebration. The air was filled with music, laughter, and life. She had faced not a monster, but a deep-seated grief, and had healed it not with a sword, but with empathy and a promise renewed. She had learned that the greatest magic of all was not power, but compassion. And under her wise and gentle rule, the kingdom of Veridia and the Gloomwood forest thrived together, forever bound by the song of the princess who had brought the music back to the world. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tailies from our library. We'll see you in the next one.